Studios. I'm John. I'm the host of this show, I guess, for contractual reasons, or perhaps by a cosmic mistake, or probably an act of the devil. I'm the one that's here that's going to be hosting the show today. Jason Kiefer's joining us, as always. He's the owner of the show. In a very strict and technical sense, he is my boss. You just laugh at that. Kiefer, how you doing, man? It's been a week. It's been a hell of a week, I guess, probably. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Now, hopefully, the week will be better than last week. But we had Jill's dad's funeral service yesterday, so got through that, and so now hopefully we you start the healing process. But very good turnout, very very good service. Jill and her sister did an amazing job eulogizing their father. So made me cry a couple times, which was awesome. But it was it was good. A lot of people. I mean, the guy touched many lives, and so I feel like we sent him off the right way. So ready to get back at it.
It's good to get the feelings out. It's good to have a well-attended funeral. I can only hope. I've had to make several bargains with people. Basically, I say, well, if you come to my funeral, I'll go to yours. And so people agree to this without really thinking it through.
I like that.
But also, I have specific deals in place with certain people where if my funeral is going too normally, it is their job to suddenly break out in a huge irrational outburst where they start screaming and trying to open the coffin, pulling me out and saying, "Dear God, why? Please let me change places. He was too beautiful for this world." And then just skip to the end. They've got to be dragged away kicking and screaming, So what I'm worried about now is that because I've forgotten who I've made this deal with and they've made it too many times, like they're all going to pick the exact same moment where like, the pastor's like, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, from that which we came from so that we remain, or something. And all of a sudden people just start, no, like 3 women all at once. And then they all just rush up there. And then there's a line or like a crowd. But the whole point is to create some mystery and some cringe at my funeral. And I know what you're thinking. You probably don't need any help to create those things. So
I would think no such thoughts.
And yet they are specified in my will, and my executor is to see that these things come true. So, by the way, you are now my executor by hearing this story.
I was going to say, is that the email that you just sent me?
Because you clicked the link, you're now my executor. Good job.
Oh, shit.
Don't open suspicious emails. You know better.
Why's John randomly emailing me? I didn't ask him for a thumbnail.
I'm not supposed to open suspicious emails, but this guy emails me all the time. Anyway, how's work been this past week?
I've been off. I took a sick day yesterday for the service, so I worked Saturday. No,
I really just mean the job itself.
Yeah.
Any cool fires or anything? Any paradoxical fires?
No, not since the last time we talked. It's been fairly boring.
I've been doing some research.
Oh, this will be scary.
It is scary. Are you aware of like the Wisconsin butter fire?
No, I'm not.
Are you aware of the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania?
I'm not.
Are you aware that this town of Centralia, Pennsylvania has been on fire since like the 60s?
Is that the like the fire like underground?
Yeah, all the anthracite coal mines are still
Yes.
on fire, and like the whole town's abandoned and only 4 people live there, and the government can't make them leave. And but it's all set up so that when they die, the government seizes their property and no one's allowed to go to this little town that's on fire all the time.
I did hear, I saw some story on that quite a
Doesn't
while
it
back.
make you mad as a firefighter that there's a town we gave up on? And doesn't that just like angry up your blood and make you like suit up?
Absolutely not.
When I was researching it, they're all like, yeah, we don't know which mines are feeding the fire. And I'm like, well, just bulldoze all of them. Just put a bunch of bulldoze shit in front of them.
I don't understand it. I don't understand how that's happening or how that's, how it's possible just physically. But
Well,
Pretty
that
interesting.
has to do with is if you have fuel and
Oh,
oxygen and like enough heat for combustion.
yeah, you have the fire tetrahedron. Yeah.
Yes, I always thought there was a secret side to the tetrahedron, and that maybe it was a quadrahedron. Like the food pyramid, there's a secret side to that you don't know about. Thanks, government.
It's Miller Lite.
It's Miller Lights on the other side of the food pyramid. Otherwise, they would call it a food triangle, right? Like they call it a food pyramid. That means there's at least 2 other secret sides to it.
Right.
Anyway, that's what the government's up to. But yeah, there's a whole town, Centralia, Pennsylvania, that's been on fire for 70 years. And I kind of want to go there. It was the inspiration for the video game Silent Hill, and I guess it's just on fire all the time, and everything's torn to shit. And it hasn't been modernized, so it's like walking into town in the 60s that burned down, and nobody lives there. And anyway, I figured it would just be like the great crowning championship moment of your life to finally be the man to put out the Centralia raging fires.
Well, maybe we should make a road trip and we'll go do that.
It's gonna be difficult for me because I'm pretty pro fire. Well, like case in point, like you're all like, let's fight fire, but I'm like, you got to say this for fire. Hey, we're talking about it. You know what I mean? Fire's got some things going for it. All right, I'll just pay the bills. You're like, enough nonsense. It's been almost 8 minutes of nonsense. Folks,
I love your nonsense.
Welcome to this podcast. Sorry for everything. The show's brought to you by GhostBed. If you go to ghostbed.com, use the offer code WOLFPACK. You can save a whole bunch of money, even I think up to 40% on beds, mattresses, bedroom accoutrement, everything that you need to deck out your place of sleep. Are you tired of sleeping in the streets? Are you tired of sleeping on inferior Sealy mattresses? Why are you throwing your life away? You get a third of your life to be unconscious. So let's face it, gang. It's the best part. Like, you really think this is so great, being awake and aware of the fires of Centralia, or having to deal with the unbearable weight that is being me and being alive? I said it a couple of weeks ago, but every day that I wake up screaming, and it's a lost war and the battle for common sense. Why wasn't I taken in my sleep? Why was I created to feel pain? Anyway, go to ghostbed.com, use the offer code WOLFPACK. You can save up to 40% on sustainably harvest ghost-based technology. They go into the afterlife like the 1984 smash film Ghostbusters, and they use heavy particles to capture ghosts, to bring them back to this dimension, and to convert them into comfortable ghost-based technology. You wonder why it's so comfortable. It's not because of special high-density foam. It's not because of goose down. No, it's because of the harvested souls of the deceased. Which, this is very grim timing for me to be doing this to you. Anyway,
you're fine, buddy.
Yeah, okay. All right. The show's also brought to you by Shieldbox. If you're someone that likes to be a cop, or if you're someone that likes to pretend to be a cop, if you're someone that wants to use your position of authority and your apparent legitimacy of your uniform to perform any number of dastardly deeds, that you need equipment to do it, whether it's whips, chains, handcuffs, belts, whatever, Shieldbox will get that done for you. The reason I read the ad this way is because I'm not sure that they're still a sponsor. So I'm trying to make it more fringy so that they'll say, hey, we don't want you to read the ads that way. And then we can use that opportunity of correction to say, where's the check? This is how you open up conversations with people. But anyway, go to shieldbox.com, create an account, select your box that you want to have delivered to you every month. There's different sizes, and they put different amounts of stuff in it. And it comes to your house, reverse trick-or-treat style, and you can try out all kinds of great police gear for your job as a law enforcement officer or in security or whatever it is that you do. And you can find cool stuff that maybe you wouldn't normally try out. And if you don't like it, you could throw away. See what comes in that box next month. We appreciate Shieldbox, just in case they do support us. I don't know if there's any equivalent of that for firefighters, but boy, it sure would be cool if there was. Yes. The show is also brought to you by the liking gap. The liking gap in social psychology, the liking gap is the disparity between how much a person believes that another person likes them and that the other person's actual opinion. Studies have found that most people underestimate how much other people like them and enjoy their company. There's evidence that suggests the liking gap begins to develop from age 5, which is when everything went wrong for me. Because this is the amount of time when children begin to become more aware and concerned with the ways that they are evaluated by others. Research suggests that people have favorable views about themselves and others. However, there's evidence to suggest that people tend to exhibit self-criticism when thinking about their interaction with others. So, the show is brought to you by the liking gap because I can't fucking stand me, but you must be okay with it.
I love the ghost sponsors because I have no idea what they are week to week, and I love it.
I don't know either. Click random article. I don't know. That's how it works. We're also live this morning, so I would like to say good morning to certain people out there, including Joshua Henderson, also called Dead Leg. Foxy's here. Christy's here from Down Under. Bloody Chunda. It's Christy from Down Under. She's here to support the show. Which, by the way, that was an ancient Australian call to action, in case you wondered what it was. Jill's here. I think I saw that Jenny was here. However, I don't see any of her chats. So, oh, she's there.
I was going to say weird. I'm seeing them.
Is she saying hola or is she saying holla? Do you remember back in the 90s when everyone was like, holla? I promise you, I was not one of those people that said that.
I was wondering if you were one because I was not.
No. Either. Do you want to know what's I'm sure you've met me. So do you remember when I met you? You probably, first of all, you came in and you said like, I thought you weren't coming. I thought you were dead. I don't know if you remember that. But I said to you, I probably said greetings because I say I'm the only one left on Earth that says greetings, like as a normal way of saying hello. You've probably
I actually think you did, and I'm like, who the fuck is this weird guy?
You knew who I was. You were begging me to show up, but I kept saying that like I had various reasons for not being there.
No, but like physically meeting you for the first time and greetings because you did say that.
Did it put you off?
No.
Did it close the liking gap?
It made me watch you a little bit closer.
I was sitting down. I was trying to stay where everyone could see me. I didn't want to be a threat to the room. I know how that goes. I'm used to it. It's a pretty good time. You ready to get into the show?
Yeah, we need to do that again, though.
Have me sit in a chair?
I'll get together and hang out, you idiot.
Oh. Well, now that I've been called an idiot, I can't wait. Liking gap's closing. Speaking of people that are not likable.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one selfish son of a bitch. How do you get to where you are and walk away? I'm talking, of course, about this guy who plays for the 49ers. This past weekend during the Rams, he was all suited up to play linebacker. I'm talking about De'Vondre Campbell. He's been suspended for 3 games for refusing to play. Kiefer, did you ever want to play football? You did play football, didn't you? Didn't you play like defensive end or something? I don't know. Back when you were 800 pounds.
I was 157-pound defensive end.
Were you really a defensive end? I guess correctly.
Yeah, I was.
Even when I'm mistaken, I'm right. That's how good I am.
I wasn't very good, but I played.
157-pound defensive end, which is laughable. Sorry,
No, it absolutely is.
I'm 200 pounds and I was never anything, so I'm actually worse than you.
The problem is I run like I have cinder blocks on my feet, so there really wasn't any other, and I wasn't big enough to be an actual like offensive lineman or like a tackle at the end. You know, I had a little bit of explosive speed off for like half a second, and then it was garbage. So
couldn't you play tight end though a little bit better? If you're maybe not so good at blocking or whatever,
even still 157-pound tight end still kind of light.
So what you're saying you had the weight class to be like a running back, but you couldn't run, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Because I mean, the guy I didn't start. I was second string, and the guy I played behind was like fucking 220.
Oh, yeah. You should follow him around and eat the food that he leaves behind.
Football wasn't my go-to sport. So
that's okay because I'm using it for illustrative purposes. If I may widen our liking gap. Can you imagine your first string and then you go into college and you have a stellar career and you have to, fight those 2 years to get noticed, to make an impression. You do good at the combine, you get drafted. Even if you're an undrafted free agent, you have to work even harder. And you finally get to the point where you're suiting up for the red and gold. Now, I hate that team, but like if I played for the 49ers, I would probably love the 49ers. Like I would love the fact that I had the opportunity to play for millions of dollars even if you're like the third linebacker for the 49ers, you're one of the finest athletes in the world and you're in an elite class of people. And you've worked hard and you've sacrificed for years and years and years, probably since you're in middle school, high school, to be where you are, and you're amazing. So how can you get through all of that to where you're playing the Los Angeles Rams, the vaunted Los Angeles Rams, on national TV, and just say like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. What has to happen to you? And we're going to examine that today with like some other examples of people on his team. But this is from ESPN. This is from Santa Clara, California. San Francisco 49ers suspended De'Vondre Campbell for their final 3 regular season games Monday after the linebacker refused to play and then walked out of Thursday night's loss to the Los Angeles Rams. The suspension for conduct detrimental to the team technically means Campbell is still a member of the organization, though, through the end of the season. But any sign that being the case is already absent from the Niners' locker room. On Monday, Campbell's locker was empty and his nameplate was removed. And so it should be. Earlier in the day, 49ers general manager John Lynch announced Campbell's suspension, which takes him through the rest of the season and effectively ends his time with the team unless the 6-8 San Francisco 49ers sneak into the playoffs, something that would require a lot of help. And then they would, call him back up again? We have suspended De'Vondre Campbell Sr. for 3 games due to conduct detrimental to the team. We have no further comment. But after that, the 49ers held a short bonus practice on Monday. Multiple players offered some further insight into Campbell's decision and how everything went down. This is from De'Vondre Lenore. This is his teammate. That's all you need to know. For that to happen and him to do that, I just lost all respect. I'm a guy that's going 110% every play, which is more than is physically possible, guys. He's defying the laws of math and physics. He's out there doing it. Mathematicians say no. De'Vondre Lenore says, why not? He's out there doing that. If I'm hurt and the guy behind me is not backing me up and I can't come in or I don't want to go on, I just feel like he's a cancer to the team. What's the cure for cancer?
We're still looking for it.
Yeah, we don't know. Defensive end Nick Bosa, who was playing his first game in about a month after he was returning from a left hip and oblique injury. So this guy's been in pain. His left hip and his oblique, which is a muscle group I don't even know about. I think it's something only an athlete has and I don't have. He said signs of Campbell's discontent were evident before the Niners and Rams kicked off. Well, you know what you do if you're discontent before the game? Tell them before the game. Don't get dressed out and stop another linebacker from playing. You go and tell the coach, like, I'm not playing today. Like, let's deal with this later. He'll go get some other player to suit up as a linebacker so that they don't lose that depth. And you give a chance to someone who would kill to be a starting linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. Somebody that wants your job, somebody that cares. Bosa said he heard some complaining from Campbell before the game. He considered stepping in and saying something, but elected not to because he didn't want to create more of a distraction. Yeah, you never know, like, if people are just bitching or if you should tell them to, hey, shut the fuck up for the San Francisco fucking 49ers.
Well, I think this. I'll let you finish your article and then I'll give you my.
No, I want you to go now. I like taking breaks.
All right, then. This guy's a complete and utter piece of shit. A selfish motherfucker. And you've got an athlete like Joey Bosa, who is a hell of a football player, a very known name. This De'Vondre Campbell, I didn't look up before the game or before the show. He's been in the league since 2016. Was with the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Packers, and now the 49ers. So the fact that he hasn't come out and said what he's pissed off about, being a little baby back bitch, nobody knows. I'm sure somebody in that organization knows now at this point. But the fact that it's not public as to why he walked out on his team, on the franchise, on the fans, And the fact I read that they were trying to, Lynch was talking with the NFL to try to give him like the maximum penalty. And I don't know if 3 games is. I mean, I know it's, for gambling, guys get pushed out for the whole season. There's only 3 games. They've only got 3 games left. And they're probably not going to make the playoffs, as that article said, but they suspended him to 3 games. So he's not going to get paid for the last 3 weeks. And then I guess they're going to look at going after a signing bonus, and like Jill brought a good comment up, can you imagine having enough money that you just walk away from millions of dollars? No other team is going to pick him up. He is a piece of shit. And the fact that he's 31, he's been in the league since 2016. I mean, he's probably knows that he's done anyway, but I want to know the reason why mid-game you fucking walk out. I wish he'd have walked out the street and got hit by a fucking bus.
And survived. Well, whatever. George Kittle said, I've never been around anybody that's done that. George Kittle is someone that's kind of in the public eye. He's known for kind of his eccentric personality. He's been in like a weird soup commercial and stuff, but people love George Kittle. He said, I'm a leader on the team. And if that is something that is being a distraction on the sideline, I would have loved to voice my opinion in the moment. He didn't know about it. They play in different squads, guys. Kittle's on offense, Campbell's on defense, so they're kind of separated. And we're past the moment, so it doesn't matter what I wish I could have said or wish I could have done. But I don't like distractions on the sideline. I think it's ignorant. Well, ignorant is when you don't know something. So the situation's ignorant, George, but anyway, I think he's really just trying to put him down. And I think it's just dumb. It's stupid. It's very mature. I just don't see how you could do something like that to your team. It's one person making a selfish decision. I've never been around anybody that's ever done that. And I hope I'm never around anyone who does that ever again. That's him washing his hands of his teammates saying, like, get out of here. We don't want to see you in the locker room. And just for some context, like these guys, I get that they're on different units, but it's like this team's been together since, July, trying to put together a team, working towards something, sweating, feeling pain, going through shit together. And you're going to get to the end of the road and maybe it's not working out like you hope. You're not finished. They're not eliminated from playoff contention like many teams are. They're not as bad off as the Browns or the Jets. Like they still have a fighting chance to get that 7th seed, and who the hell knows? Like things have not gone well for the 49ers. There's a lot of stuff that's gone wrong that's out of their control. But to just give up, I mean, it goes against everything that makes football great. So it really is a personal insult to a lot of people there.
Well, here's the thing. You signed a contract.
That too.
You signed a fucking contract. That's a commitment. And they're not paying you to stand on the fucking sideline or to walk into the locker room, to hang out in the locker room and fucking drink Gatorade.
Yeah.
They signed you to fucking play. And the coach wanted you in, and he said, I don't want to play. I mean, what a fucking baby.
It's funny you mentioned that. We'll get to even more of that. He said, Bosa said, I kind of saw the foreshadowing, and I definitely didn't want to think it was going to result in that. No one could have imagined that he would just walk off, though. Although he joins a very short list of players who have retired during the game. This guy just quit. He didn't retire. And they usually wait till halftime, right? Like they don't do it like right in the middle of the game.
Yeah, go be Antonio Brown.
Except for Antonio Brown, who at least had the decency to like let everyone know, like, hey, I'm leaving. But it's not because I'm mad. It's because I'm insane.
Right.
Sorry, guys, I'm insane now. And he took off his jersey and his pads right there on the sideline. He's shirtless. Tom Brady's over there in the huddle, just like Antonio Brown's leaving the NFL right now.
Right this second.
But guys, we're going to be doing a draw play here. He just goes back to the huddle. He doesn't care.
I'm going to have to take him off my couch when I get home.
Yeah. Anyway, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles replaced him.
That doesn't even sound like a real person.
Well, when his name used to just be Flanagan. It used to be Flanagan Fowles. So I wonder why he hyphenated it. You see that sometimes. Maybe he's paying respect to his mama as well. I'm not sure. But let's further contextualize this because we need to put this in some more perspective. We're not just talking about like rah, football's the best. We have to talk about what it takes to get someone to go out there and do that and why someone would quit. And so I want to talk about what's going on with the rest of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to talk about a couple of players who were there during the loss to the Los Angeles Rams who were playing. People that did not give up, did not quit. This is from earlier this year. San Francisco 49ers player announces the death of his 1-year-old daughter. We are heartbroken, he says. Charvarius Ward said his daughter, Amani Joy, died on Monday morning. This is back in October. San Francisco 49ers player Charvarius Ward announced the death of his 1-year-old daughter, Amani Joy, on Tuesday in an emotional post on Instagram. Alongside a photo of the toddler, who would have been 2 in November, so she'd have been 2 now. Ward wrote that Amani, who shares with his girlfriend Monique Cook, died Monday morning. We are heartbroken that our beautiful baby girl, Amani Joy, passed away on Monday morning. She was the best blessing we could have asked for, and her joyous spirit made us smile from ear to ear. She taught us to have patience, trust, and a positive outlook on life. She showed us the true strength and bravery. She overcame adversity at a young age and was always happy, lighting up every room with her smile. So De'Vondre Campbell doesn't have these traits. We're talking about a little girl that died. Having the privilege of being her parents and seeing the world through her eyes has changed us for the better, he added. She will forever be daddy's girl and mommy's little girl. We miss you and love you forever, Amani Joy. So no details came out, just in case you wondered why that happened. But that guy could say, you know what, fuck it. There's some things that are bigger than football. There's real life, and I'm in grief over the death of my daughter. I don't have to do anything else now. My daughter died. I think anyone in any other walk of life would be, bench me, coach. My heart's just not in it. And everyone would understand losing a child. He's out there, though. Charvarius Ward's out there wanting to play, even though he went through that. So if you can lose a daughter, how can you still have not only like the professional acumen to go out there and actually play, but the fighting spirit to be in it? Because it takes more than just like what you and I have, Keith. Like I go to work and I'm just like, I just get to put in, 60% today and hope nothing terrible happens. And if something terrible happens, I'm going to punch it up to 100, but like I'm committing 60%. If you're going to go out there and play the Los Angeles Rams, you have to have a true fighting spirit. You've got to be invested because somebody else wants your job. Everybody's waiting for you to fail. Everyone's waiting for you to do something stupid so that they can make fun of you all week. You have to go out there and you have to be super mentally committed. And this guy has his mental and he has his spiritual game going if he can, in the midst of loss and tragedy, go out there and do this. So what kind of person are you where you throw up your hands in the middle of the game and walk out and you don't have the excuse, hey man, my daughter died? Campbell doesn't have that. Let's talk about somebody else on the San Francisco 49ers because it's been a really bad year for them. Pearsall, Ricky Pearsall, he's a rookie receiver. This comes from the BBC. It's just an easy article. But he makes his NFL debut 50 days after being shot. Right. Okay, another one of Campbell's teammates. Rookie receiver Ricky Pearsall made his NFL debut on Sunday for the 49ers just 50 days after being shot in the chest during an attempted robbery. This is also back in October. The 24-year-old missed the first 6 games of the season following the shooting. But after making a successful return to practice, he was cleared to play the big game of the week in week 7. The 49ers were hosting Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch of the Super Bowl, which the Chiefs won in an overtime thriller. I thought it was boring, personally, but anyway. Despite such a traumatic start to his life in the NFL, Pearsall impressed head coach Kyle Shanahan so much that when he returned to the squad, he had no choice but to include him in the game. Practicing all week. It's been great to see him out there, Shanahan said in his pregame conference. He's had a hell of a week, and he's pumped to get out there. This guy got shot in the chest during a robbery. His life could have and should have ended. Here's a guy who's going through tremendous amounts of rehab, medical trauma, emotional trauma. Someone pointed a gun at his chest and pulled the trigger. But last Sunday, when the San Francisco 49ers were playing the Los Angeles Rams, their division rivals, Ricky Pearsall didn't say, no, man, my heart's just not in it.
No pun intended. I got shot in the chest, but my heart's not in it.
You could say that, and like people would be afraid to laugh, but they would understand.
Right.
So can anyone explain to me how you can go through the tragedies of losing your 1-year-old daughter, playing through what would have been her second birthday, being another player who got shot before the season even began, but now you're in it. You're here. You're trying to get the 49ers to the playoffs. Or what about Christian McCaffrey, who is a tremendous player? He's one of the most effective, energizing players in the NFL. He came to your team, took you to the NFC Championship. You're defending NFC title champions. How can you take that energy and that momentum and great teammates like Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle? And guys, I don't even like the 49ers. I don't even like them. Can you imagine what people who like this team are probably saying? And just saying, fuck it, I quit. I'm not playing for you guys. I'm not going to go out there and commit myself for what? He walked away in the third quarter for another hour. And you're not even going to be playing the whole time. Hopefully the offense is back out there. But he's just like, fucking, I'm done. And in front of thousands and thousands of people, in front of all his staff, all the people that look up to him, support him, take care of him, wash his jockstrap, and just say, no, I'm not in it for you. It's just the height of selfishness. And you could say, you know what? He doesn't owe anybody anything. But the truth is that when you sign that contract, like Kiefer said, you're committing yourself to that. And when you're going out there and you're playing a team sport in which other people whose careers do depend on success and their success depends on you, you are a unit. You need to go out there and perform as a unit. And you know what? If you can't do that, if you just can't, say something before the game. Let somebody else do that. Go ahead, Keith.
He drove to the stadium. He got out of bed, got in his car, drove to the stadium, suited up, did his, I would assume his normal pregame ritual, whatever that may be.
Lifting weights and doing cocaine. Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, you hope so.
But he went there. Like, if he didn't want to play, if he was that. So I can't imagine it was something so egregious and so big from the time that he walked into the locker room to the third quarter to literally just say, I mean, it has to be something bigger than just, I'm, no pun intended, I'm taking my ball and going home type shit. Like, oh, so-and-so's not doing their job, I'm fucking done. Like, it's got to be something way bigger than that. And that's what I wanted. I want the root cause. That's what I want to know.
If it's something personal, in a sense, it's none of our business, but like, it has to be big for me to be okay with it, because you could come at me and say like, listen, man, I'm just not getting along with my wife, or like, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, or I stepped on a Lego. These things are not going to work for me.
We don't, it's 17 or 18 weeks.
There's 18 weeks in the season now.
Just doing some quick math here.
All right. Anyway, because the reason why stepping on a Lego is not going to be enough for me is because of the people out there putting themselves forward and doing their best, even when their kids die and even when they get shot in the chest. So you are going to have to come up with a very, very big explanation for me to not view you as selfish. And I dare you to do that. But
he signed a 1-year deal for $5 million with a $3.35 million signing bonus. Just off his salary, he makes $277,777 every week. Now, my question is, for this week, do they prorate it? Do they have to go in like by the minute?
I don't know. It's probably not worth all that, but I'll make $100 if I show up at work today. I get paid cash on arrival. So, and actually
that is preposterous though. Again, he's got 3 games left.
Yeah.
And to just walk out.
I'm sure that because he's in breach of contract, I'm sure they have a remedy for that they'll mediate. They'll have somebody meet with his agent and say like, hey, if you want, this is a breach of contract. They probably agree to some level of remediation, but they're going to say like, dude, like, you don't have a leg to stand on. Like, why don't we just get this over with? You're going to have to make certain concessions and get out of here. But the best point that was probably made by you to say that he's 31. He's on like his 6th team. He's revealed himself as locker room cancer. You got George Kittle out there, one of the more, if you pay attention to football, you know who George Kittle is. Even I do. You got George Kittle out there saying, I hope I never see his fucking face ever again.
George Kittle, who has the most laissez-faire attitude about it.
Yes. You're never going to see Campbell again. So whatever it is that he's going through, he threw his whole career away, which there wasn't much left of it anyway. But, suppose the 49ers pull it off. Suppose that because their division, the West, can still be won somehow. If the Rams start tanking and the Cardinals start being the Cardinals, and Geno Smith just, continues to struggle. The 49ers could reach the playoffs by default. It could still fucking happen. What then? How are you going to feel in January when it's the wild card round and you're hosting a game there in San Francisco and you're sitting at home because you're being a little baby, I just wonder. Let's talk about something more positive. Dan Campbell doing Dan Campbell things.
Dan Campbell things.
The Lions lost, which was sad because you and I both picked them to win. We'll get to our picks in a little bit. But you sent me this article about Dan Campbell's strategy and about whether or not it pays off. Now, Dan Campbell goes for everything on fourth down. I was looking at some stats the other day about how often he converts fourth downs, how often he scores touchdowns on fourth downs, which is insane because, I feel like when I was a kid and watching football, no one ever went for it on fourth. Even if you're literally down by 7 and the game's about to end, no one was going for it on fourth for some reason, feels like it never happened, and now he's making it happen all the time. But this is from Yahoo Sports, the pinnacle of sports reporting. No, Dan Campbell's onside kick call wasn't a reckless gamble. Were you at all bothered by the fact that they have to show that they're doing an onside kick now because of the way the way that the kickoff formation is now? If you're going to an onside kick, the other team could tell. Like, you can't surprise anyone with an onside kick anymore. And before they changed the kicking formation to be what it is today, it had already worked out such that only like 1% of onside kicks were being recovered, and that was with the element of surprise on your side. So where are we at now when you don't have the element of surprise on your side? Right. All these special teamers, all these guys who do what onside kick drills every single week, they know exactly what to do. They're hyper focused. They know exactly how to jump on that ball before it goes 10 yards. What are your chances of success? I feel like there's more work to be done in the offseason on how to tease out these special teams plays. And I feel like the Detroit Lions, once again, are going to be very loud in the offseason complaining about things. He said he was reporting as eligible. We should be able to do onside kicks, and I'm making fun of Detroit, but they have shamed me. So whatever. I feel like it's just sour grapes and I have to be ignored. And whatever. Anyway, Detroit, in his comments following the 48-42 loss on Sunday, Lions head coach Dan Campbell acknowledged that his decision to attempt an onside kick while trailing by 10 points and a full 12 minutes remaining in the game did not work out. Wow, he went for an onside kick with 12 minutes left? I must have missed that part.
Yeah, that's why it's so newsworthy, is the fact of when he chose to do it and why.
Would you have done the same thing?
No, I wouldn't have onside kick with 12 minutes left. I would trust my team. I would trust my defense to be able to at least put a hold on them and then let the offense come back out. But
do you think that because he has taken such big risks in the past and they have tended more often than not to work out, do you think that he's just become a risk-based coach where he's just like, I'm going to go do the riskiest thing and that's my thing?
I kind of think that is his mantra at this point. Everybody gets like a shtick, put on them. I think that's his.
I think if you just get used to winning in those situations and you're no longer looking at the analytics of the situation and you're just like, I'm 100% balls and no brains. Like, I think that it's not necessarily going to work out. I remember the game against the Cowboys last year, and if we may just disregard the controversy, he refused to kick field goals. Field goals are points that you can leave on the board if you don't convert on fourth down and you just turn the ball over, and there's a reason why people play the way they do. Yes, there's analytics to suggest that you should go out on fourth down in certain situations. Yes, there's statistics that say that turning over on downs at this particular place and at this particular time is every bit as good as a bad punt. And why not, attempt at least to keep your drive alive? There's analytics for that. But I think he's so often used to saying, I'm going to go with the analytics, and then the analytics say do this risky thing, that he's gotten to the point where he's like, I'm going to do the risky thing even though the analytics say not to now where he's just like, I'm going to do risky things because I'm Dan fucking Campbell and with the Detroit Lions. And it's an admirable attitude, and it's exciting football to watch, and you like him going out there and taking risks and doing things that, like, and it's edge of your seat football. Like, if you care about the game and the strategy of the game, because you're like, I can't believe he's doing this. What is he thinking?
What the fuck is going on?
But the problem is with this is that it doesn't work out,
Right.
But I think Dan Campbell's so post criticism as well on taking big risks that it's like when it blows up in his face, it's just like, well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as a quarterback throwing an interception. So it's a devastating turn of events, and like it doesn't help you win the game. In case in point, the Lions lost, but it's just like, well, it's just part of the game. Losing a big risk is part of the game now, and that comes down to your philosophy. Are you willing to risk it all to win big? Because that's who the Lions have been for 2 years now or more. Or are you really more of a game manager? Are you someone who's trying to play it safe, play it conservative, and get to a place where you can rely on talent and strategy to get you to a narrow margin of victory? With 12 minutes left, anything can happen in that game. It's anybody's game still with 12 minutes left. Even with a terribly lopsided score, the history of the NFL has shown we've had huge comebacks in 12 minutes. 12 minutes is everything. So it's a little too early for that. Some had deemed the move to be risky, reckless, and analytically unsound. God, I could be a sports writer. I mean, I'd be a terrible one, but I mean, I'd be at least as good as Yahoo. It happens often with Campbell, who is known for his aggressiveness that somehow often finds himself at odds with old school conservative football minds and modern number crunchers. His critics found "I told you so" solace in his admission, although it wasn't his strategy he was saying was regrettable, just the outcome of the play. I'm not sorry. I'm just sorry it didn't work. Buffalo's Mac Hollins grabbed the bouncing ball on the fly and returned it 38 yards to the Lions' 5-yard line. That's a bad position to be in defensively, Keith.
I think being able to take chances, like going back to what you're saying, because I was sitting here thinking, you can take risks, and you have to take risks, and sometimes that will change either momentum or the outcome. You get a shift in momentum, and as well as I do watching football as much as we do, you get a momentum shift, even though you may still be losing. You shift the momentum, things change, and it's very odd and strange to see that. But and that's what I like about. That's what I love about football. Is it's like the movie Any Given Sunday. So I think it was a bonehead move to do it at 12 minutes, but I mean, I still like Dan Campbell and as you said, his philosophy and the way he approaches the game. But you've got to be willing to eat your shit, which I think he has. But
yeah,
it's just the ridicule, and Lions fans are fucking relentless. I know a bunch of them. They are absolutely relentless because they've been in the shitter for so many years that they're just angry fucking elves.
Just as a reminder that during the show, Matt Eberflus has earned several $1,000s for doing nothing. So we could criticize Campbell, but it's like everything's going fine for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Obviously, now sitting here in hindsight with them taking it down to the 5-yard line, yeah, I wish I hadn't done that, Campbell said, but it is what it is. It isn't changing. Here's the other thing about Dan Campbell, if I may. He knows he's good. Detroit, the owners would be pulling out of the street and strung up if they got rid of Dan Campbell, because he's the best and only thing to ever happen to this team for 80 years. I mean, you really have to dig deep in NFL statistics to see, Bobby Lane being when they were traded to the Steelers being the last time that they were a championship caliber team. So we're really digging into Lions lore at this point. And by the way, I don't know if you ever saw this, just as a reminder, but there was a show called it's still on, I think, Peyton's Place is on ESPN Plus, but it stars Peyton Manning. Him and Jeff Daniels, the star of Dumb and Dumber, went out and performed an exorcism at Ford Field to exorcise the curse of Bobby Lane.
I did.
It has worked because they have been a winning team since they went out there and did that. So I encourage you to watch that on ESPN Plus if you have access to that whole series that Peyton Manning did. At one point, he goes to Hy-Vee, the grocery store that Kurt Warner worked at, and Kurt Warner teaches him how to work at Hy-Vee. So, I mean, it's just a great show. They have a lot of history on there, a lot of fun stuff. There's pre-scandal Brett Favre stuff on there if you want to watch that. If you want to remember.
I know we're jumping around, but my favorite was Peyton Manning when he hosted Saturday Night Live. The skit with the kids on the
so
backyard
good.
football.
That was really good. And
He tells him go sit in the portal. He was like, "Don't come out till I tell you to."
Yeah, no, I love that sketch. What's funny is that he's such a nice guy. Like seeing him mean or mad, because there are videos of him during games in which he's fiercely competitive and extremely angry. And like I know that like at one point he literally said like Mike he told like the press that Mike Vanderjagt, the team's kicker, he told him that the kicker was an idiot, which isn't nice. It's not who Peyton Manning is now. He's definitely the polished sort of face of the NFL. But go watch Peyton Manning shit wherever you can find it. That guy's, even if it's just a nationwide commercial, that guy's good.
On Monday nights, do you watch the regular, like if you're able to watch a Monday Night Football game, do you watch the regular broadcast or do you watch the Madden cast?
I was gonna say normally I'm watching my dispatch console. If I'm not there, I would like to watch the Manning cast. A couple occasions where I have taken initiative to watch the game, I've put on the Manning cast because it's like I don't like the regular announcers. Now it's Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, and they do drive me nuts a little bit. But like,
right, it looks like they had a baby together, so you can call him Troy Buck.
Troy Buck. I'm just putting them together now. I'm live on the internet. Anyway, but like I often will watch with the announcing turned off. Chris Collinsworth and others have really ruined that for me. So I'll turn it off. I'll put on music, or I'll listen to the radio broadcast of the game. The radio announcers are actually, for the most part, they're very, very, very good announcers for the action because of the way that they call the game. But I just don't like listening to that. So I've put on the Manning brothers before, and they kind of turned it into a circus where like it's half hybrid talk show or whatever. But Peyton and Eli somehow managed to be a classic comedy duo in the style of, Abbott and Costello or Kiefer and Bates. Like they figure out a way to just be a good. Yeah, you're like, oh, I threw myself in there. But they managed to be pretty funny, and sometimes they have on guests that are kind of hilarious sometimes. But other times it's just like they'll be talking about something and something will happen, and then Peyton will be like, wait a minute, I missed it. And Eli's just like staring down at his monitor and doesn't say anything because he forgets that he's on TV. And it's just like, well, in some ways it just feels like watching football with the Mannings, which is fun. So I like doing that.
I think they've done a good job of, giving an alternative way to watch it, but it's been very successful. I think for me, like the entertaining part of it, it's like big brother versus little brother type shit. Like you can almost picture them beating the shit out of each other. And, way back in the day in Louisiana in the house, that they grew up in, because I've seen Peyton go, Eli, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And they sit there and argue. And I love that.
They do have that brotherly thing, which is very funny. But I think it's sad that Cooper Manning doesn't get to be there. Because he actually would have been a quarterback had he not been injured. And then, of course, is Mitch Manning, the forgotten and lost Manning brother. I don't know if you're aware of Mitch.
Nobody ever talks about Mitch.
No one ever talks about Mitch. He's the family shame.
He's locked in a basement somewhere.
Let's talk about the Lions, though. They lost that game. Huge game, possibly a potential Super Bowl preview. This also from Yahoo Sports, the Pinnacle of Sports reporting, Lions injuries are becoming a recurring nightmare and otherwise a dream season in Detroit. They've waited generations around here for a team like this. Generations. Megatron spinning in his grave like a rotisserie chicken. Barry Sanders watching from on high, stroking his chin thusly. Watching as Detroit Lions are good for the first time ever.
They're like,
Matt Stafford angry down there in Los Angeles, even though he won a Super Bowl. Rich with talent, armed with creativity, and boasting a blistering offense. For the first time ever, you could say Detroit and Super Bowl in the same sentence and not elicit laughter. It's actually how my father died, as I made a joke about the Lions going to the Super Bowl, and he laughed himself to death. He was in pain for hours after he was dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, and that was before an 11-game winning streak that got them to 12-1 on the season heading into Sunday, which is an amazing winning streak. And by the way, if they win one more game, I mean, they're already setting records every week, but they've never had a 13-win season ever. Going all the way back to the Portsmouth Spartans of Ohio before they even moved to Michigan, they never had a 13-win season. Of course. I know what you're saying, John. Well, John, back in 1934, The season was 10 games long, you fucking idiot. How could they have had a 13th winning game season? Like, you got me there. You know your football. Congratulations. Good job. You got me. Must feel great to point out other people's shortcomings. It must be exhilarating. Where do you get off? I'm on anyway. Sorry. What is it called when you're sundowning but you're angry? I don't know. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, angry sundowning. And that was before the 11-game winning streak got them to 12-1 on the season heading into Sunday, except here in week 15, 48-42 loss to the Buffalo Bills. The familiar, if haunting, sight of the Lions injury cart kept making appearance after appearance to haul away defensive players. Already riddled with injuries, with a two-deep scotch taped together fill-ins. This is a recurring nightmare for an otherwise dream season. First, cornerback Carlton Davis III was lost due to a jaw injury. He did not return, even though he was seen eating a bag of peanut M&Ms on the sideline during the game. Then cornerback Khalil Dorsey was carted off with an ankle injury that looked brutal. And even though he's currently on the Russian ballet circuit, he is not expected to return. Then there was defensive lineman Aleem McNeil, a key cog who had just returned from a concussion, hobbling off the field into the blue tent and then to the cart with knee surgery. I don't feel good about either of those guys, Dorsey and McNeil. Head coach Campbell said, normally, if I'm saying not good, it's not good for the rest of the year. Yeah, he's letting you know they're not going to come back. Forget losing the game. It happens. And Buffalo's a big-time team with its own Super Bowl aspirations. It was what was lost that matters again. No, I'm not buying it. I don't buy it, Campbell said, being restrained by a team of his own men. Campbell said on the defensive injuries costing the Lions the game, we can get better. We should have been better. We know how good they are, but we should have been more urgent. Campbell is a no excuse guy. He will just say, it is what it is, which is sort of an excuse. He said that about himself. He's repeatedly said injuries are a part of the deal, and the job is for everyone in the field to be good enough and prepared enough to perform. That's what you'd want him and expect him to say. I just feel like we didn't play at the same level as a team, Campbell said. That's why I put this on me, and I didn't have them ready. But I will be suited up and on the sideline next week, ready to replace any defensive player. Coach Campbell, yes, what the fuck do you want? You played tight end, didn't you?
I missed that interview. Shit.
Well, you got to watch the end. Still, the facts are the facts. The Lions injured reserve list has already been overloaded with defenders. Star defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, who got his leg broken by the Dallas Cowboys.
That was fucking brutal, too. Oh, my God.
I know. What a tasteless moment this is for me.
I love it.
Defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo, linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, cornerback Ennis Rakestraw, safety Ifeto Melanfinewu, undisclosed. I'm sorry, some of their names, question mark. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, linebacker Derek Barnes, linebacker Jillian Reeves Mabin, defensive end Marcus Davenport, defensive tackle David Bada, defensive end John Kominski, and defensive end Nate Lynn. How many people are on this team?
I was going to say, is there anybody left?
Guys, if you live in the city of Detroit and you have a jersey, you should be down at Ford Field this morning. Because I'm pretty sure you could win a walk-on roll. If you're one of these guys that can win a hot dog eating contest, let's put you on a defensive end.
Right.
There's a dozen, plus 3 more during the game. No wonder Allen, who hardly needs much help, led the Bills to 498 yards. He himself accounted for 362. And 68 more, 2 touchdowns rushing. The Bills punted only once. The Lions defense was so beaten down and beaten up that Campbell, trailing 10 points, called for an aggressive if-telling onside kick. We already talked about that. It was ripped by many as reckless, but it was likely a sign of his lack of faith in his defensive stopping group. See, there you go. You said have faith in the team, but when you can't even name everyone on your team, and you're looking at some guy's jersey, he's standing next to you, he's getting ready to go out there, and you look, and like there's a piece of masking tape on the back that says Sanders, and you're just like, who is that guy? I don't know who that guy is. You might not have the most confidence in your team when these guys, who the fuck are they? Honestly, at this point, I'm sure there's an NFL bylaw that's against this, but they should start picking up like first string other players, other teams should be trading. I mean, we're past the trade deadline. Fuck, there's no way to do this, but you should be getting like first string defensive players from other teams. Find a way to make it happen. Like, I know what you're saying, John, you ignorant fool. There's no way for them to be trading. It's post trade deadline. I'm going to tell you this right now. The NFL has a long history of chicanery. Back in the old days, chicanery. Back in the old days, the Green Bay Packers, wanting to defeat their rivals, the Chicago Bears, during that game and for that game only, hired 3 players from Notre Dame to play on their team. Now, back in those days, it was illegal for amateurs to participate in a professional game because that's just the rules back then. If you were playing on a college team, if you took any money for a game anywhere, it was like the height of like sordid behavior. It was like getting caught with a dead hooker in your trunk. You know, it was the same thing.
I feel like I've heard this though.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Packers got busted. They had 3 players from Notre Dame on their squad because Notre Dame was a better team than the Green Bay Packers at that time. And they actually got kicked out of the NFL for that. And how did they do that? Well, they did that with assumed names. So why don't you go out there and get some players from the Cleveland Browns, from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and like, hello, my name is John Smith, and I would like to play defensive end. You know,
meanwhile, for the audio listeners, John's doing his most seductive wink.
I'm doing a seductive wink that's designed to lure you into my sexy web. Anyway, God, this show. But anyway, my point is just we could forge some documents. Jesus, if illegals could vote in this country, I think anyone should be able to play for the Detroit Lions, even people who play for the Cincinnati Bengals. Just go ahead and get them over there. Get them onto the Detroit Lions. Give them a chance to win a Super Bowl. And if we have some postseason intrigue and we get to talk all summer long about whether or not the Lions Lombardi Trophy should be forfeited due to chicanery, like that's a great offseason, right?
Plenty of content for us.
And a fake victory, still a victory, Detroit. Still more than you've ever had.
Screw your morals and your scruples. Who cares? Just take it and go.
You know, I don't know. I think it would be fun. And if it was me, I would say go for it. Anyway, the Lions offense is pretty good. They were able to do hooks and laterals and touchdown passes and get 494 yards, 5 touchdowns passes out of Jared Goff. It wasn't enough, though. Lions found themselves in a 3-way tie atop the NFC record-wise by the end of Week 15. That's weird that they're no longer at the top. That's weird. Buffalo got the hard-fought victory in what was billed to some as a possible Super Bowl preview. The Bills are an offensive juggernaut. While Detroit was defeated, it was the first time since September 15th. Full 3 months. So that's sad. Are the Lions bound for Super Bowl glory? Yes. But as I said early in the year, they will go to the Super Bowl and achieve new standards of excellence for the Detroit Lions. And they will lose 10-3 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Awful.
Like Jill's comment, hello, my name is Charvarius Bergeron.
We all know how to just come up with the names. Like, hi, my name is Latrine Chavius.
All you got to do is watch the Key and Peele skits, and you can come up with names.
Key and Peele skits. Also, there's a show.
Tingle McCrinkleberry.
There's a show called Fleckus Talks where yesterday they released the top 10 words that could be black people names. It's like Sky Rizzy, Due Diligence. Anyway, watch that show. All right. So let's debunk the leftist agendas. The dogs should not have jobs. What are we talking about? We're talking about Michael Vick, who's a local hero where I lived in Virginia. He was like the biggest thing to ever happen to us, other than like Missy Elliott and some other people. Gus Grissom, astronaut who died on the launch pad of Apollo 1, also a big deal. Mm-hmm. But many people liked Michael Vick. Because he showed that you could come from the projects of Newport News, which is where I'm from. You could go from nothing to something. When he became the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, he lifted the aspirations of a generation of men, in which I was included. I never thought that I could be Michael Vick, but at my high school, we had Michael Vick Day, case in point. And then there's this whole deal with the dogs. The dog fighting, raising dogs to be vicious, paying dogs to fight other dogs, bad news kennels. Guys, you got to understand something about culture. Not everything can be judged by your culture. We sit high and mighty in judgment of other cultures, cultures that oppress women, cultures that execute people for being homosexual, British people's teeth. We're just all over it. But what you've got to understand is in southeastern Virginia, a little area that I like to call Tidewater, dogfighting is as normal as baking bread, and it's every bit as American as apple pie. Forcing dogs, beating them, starving them to become vicious and to fight each other is normal. In fact, I will tell people all the time, mentioning my high school. It's also where Mike Tomlin went to high school, although he never talks about it. We were not known for a lot. We did not have a lot of school spirit. But our band did compete nationally, marching band. The state, our boys wrestling team went to state. And the school's dogfighting team also performed very well every year. It's just normal where we are. But when the rest of the world found out that Michael Vick was involved in dogfighting, they said, we don't approve. It just goes to show you that some things just don't play well in Peoria. I was arguing with Drew on the Comm Center recently about whether or not the sheriff of Hillsborough County should have been marching in the gay pride parade. I said, that's fine for Tampa. That works well for Tampa and your culture in Tampa. But how well does it look to the people of the Midwest? How well does it play in Peoria? If you want to take a guy like Chad Chronister and make him the head of the DEA, then everything that he's done as a professional law enforcement person now gets recontextualized in terms of what does it mean to the country that doesn't necessarily share all of your same values or look at them differently. And I think that's fair. And so I invite you to look into your heart for the little kid from the projects who went on to NFL greatness and then had to go to federal prison because he tried to get dogs to work for a living. Anyway, about Michael.
Country come.
Anyway, about Michael Vick. Great news. Former NFL quarterback Michael Vick to become coach at Norfolk State. The Norfolk State Spartans. Go Spartans. That's a school very close to me there in southeastern Virginia. Michael Vick has been a college football phenom, an NFL star, a convicted felon, skipping past that, a cautionary tale. All right. A comeback player of the year, and recently he became a Hall of Famer. Probably the only thing that I can't forgive Michael Vick for. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, John, of course, the beating and starving and strangling and fighting of dogs. No, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles there for a little bit, people. Like, if we're going to try to find forgiveness in our heart for Michael Vick, like,
I knew that's where you were going.
Let's actually forgive him for the stuff that he's done wrong, and it was playing for the Eagles. Now he's Coach Vick, Norfolk State, a historically black FCS school, which means I could have gotten a minority scholarship to go there. In the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference's Vick's home state is hiring the former Virginia Tech Go Hokies quarterback whose NFL career was interrupted when he was served nearly 2 years in prison to be its head coach on Tuesday. Sources briefed on the situation told The Athletic, look, no one cares about Norfolk State. People don't even know we're the Spartans. We might as well fucking get our version of Deion Sanders in here and try some shit. We have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying dog.
Do you know what I'm saying, dog? And it's spelled here D-A-W-G. I'm not sure how they knew that's how he was pronouncing it. The move was not immediately announced by the school, but Vick's former high school coach and longtime mentor Tommy Riemann told The Athletic he had been advising Vick on a coaching career and plans to join his staff at Norfolk State. Boy, that's weird. You're gonna be the head coach, and then on your coaching staff is your coach. I mean, I guess. I'm so excited for him to do this because I think he's such a great coach. Raymond said he's so personable. He's very charismatic. You got to be charismatic to coach in 2024, and that's why he's going to win. I'm excited to watch him as he communicates with the children. The Virginian Pilot, which is actually not even the best newspaper there, just so you know, I have the knowledge to know this. If you want to know what's going on in Tidewater, read the Daily Press, and don't just do it for the reruns of Beetle Bailey comics. Anyway,
I'll be sure to do that.
The Daily Press printed the comic about Beetle Bailey dying in Vietnam, and it almost destroyed the paper.
Damn it.
Yes, damn it. Anyway, what a weird joke. The Virginia Pilot first reported the hiring. Vick told the newspaper, I know how to lead and I know what it takes. Hiring echoes similar moves by HBCUs recent years, handling their football programs over to high-profile former NFL stars, most notably Deion Sanders. Started his coaching career at Jackson State before jumping to Colorado. Eddie George, the former Ohio State Heisman Trophy winner and Tennessee Titans star, is in his 4th season at Tennessee State. I bet he and I have talked about Deion's situation and him 100 times, or even said, those two kids, Vic and Sanders, are perfect examples of taking their talent with all that charisma. Charisma is everything. And
Sure.
then become a head coach in football today. Michael has the voice. People are going to relate to him, especially when we get in these houses. I don't know what that means exactly. Vic will replace Dawson Odoms, who will be forced to get onto a barge and be pushed out to sea after his 15-31 record in 4 seasons with Norfolk State. If I may, Vic, 44, grew up in Newport News, Virginia, about 35 miles south of Norfolk. Newport News is not south of Norfolk. Wow, they got the directions wrong. We're northwest. Jesus, the Athletic. Will you fucking look at a map? Anyway, he went to Virginia Tech, where he led the Hokies to the national title against Florida State in 99. It's one of the most dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks in college football history. That guy could run.
Yes, absolutely.
Vic played 2 thrilling seasons at Virginia Tech, finishing 3rd in the Heisman voting. As a redshirt freshman in 99, he was selected to the College Football Hall of Fame in January. People around here are so pumped about Michael Vick's coaching, Raymond said, and coming back. And Vic jumped into the NFL after 3 years in Blacksburg and became the number 1 overall NFL pick, or a pick for the Atlanta Falcons in 2001. His NFL career took off in 2004, where he led the Falcons to the NFC Championship game. In 2006, he became the first quarterback in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. At the height of his stardom and at the peak of his physical performance, Vic's downfall was shocking, and some say set up by certain extremist groups such as PETA and the ASPCA. In 2007, he pleaded guilty to being involved in a dogfighting ring at a property he owned in rural Virginia and was sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison. He also had to pay back part that was his multi-million-dollar contract with the Falcons. He was released from prison in 2009 and pledged to use his demise as a lesson for others. He returned to the NFL with the Eagles, and that drew protests, but it's like, really, it's not even the first time they've hired a convicted felon, and that's a true stat.
That's a true stat right there.
Like back in the 30s, like when the NFL was suffering due to the Depression, they couldn't get anyone to buy tickets to the game. They literally hired someone who had just gotten out of prison for murder. They hired him for a single game, I think probably to play against Pittsburgh. They're like, come see the murderer play football, and it worked. That's a true story. But he went out to play 7 more seasons in the league, becoming a starter for the Eagles from 2010 to 2012. That's the script. I was watching all of that. I've seen him grow, Raymond said. He's done so many things to get out of the holes that he has dug for himself. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Do you think Michael Vick is on a redemption arc? Do you think we should forgive him? Or should we just be like, hey, man, you know, like dogs are like a gift from God to man, and they're man's best friend. And you should not have been doing that. You know, like, do you think that like we should just maybe judge him a little bit more? What do you think, Keith? Should we forgive him?
I'm glad you brought this up because I just had an epiphany.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I was wondering why Jill was hitting me with a stick and telling me to get on a fucking treadmill every day and try to, quote unquote, as she said, toughen me up.
Fireman Fighter League.
Holy shit.
I want firefighters to fight.
It's all coming together.
Shut up. Don't say this on the air. They'll steal it.
It's all coming together.
God, this is
we're almost done. I'm getting on the treadmill soon. Just give me a second.
This is even better than Hobo Wars because you guys are actually physically fit. You actually have vitamins already inside your bodies.
Yeah, Miller Lite.
Well, Miller Lite, yes, of course, but even the hobos have Miller Lite. You actually have some nutrition. Finally, all that hose dragging will be for something, not just signing off on insurance forms and watching as people's hopes and dreams go up in flames, thinking about your precious Miller Lite. Now we can have you fight against each other. And the fact that you all have your own individual logos and indicia, you know, Cincinnati Fire Department, like shit, the merchandise is already there. You know, just put firefighter, you know, Ultimate Fighting League under the bottom.
They own it.
God, it's going to be great. One great idea after another. Week 16 picks. You and I tied again with 12 wins this week.
Damn it.
If I had picked the Cowboys to win, I would be edging you out. But no, Cowboys had a great game. They won 30-14 over the hopeless Carolina Panthers. taking away our draft prospects, just ruining the season by winning at this point. I should have thought ahead and realized the Cowboys would do that. But that means you're currently at 6.693 and I'm at 0.695.
Slowly.
So close, because now we keep tying every week, but like that one game difference has less and less and less meaning the more games we're including in our computations. With that in mind, did you want to pick week 16?
Yeah, let's do it, buddy.
Should we go faster this time?
Yeah.
We can go a little faster. Broncos, Chargers, tomorrow night, 7:15.
Chargers.
They just lost to the Falcons.
This is a big game for the Bengals because we need some shit to happen between Denver and Chargers.
I honestly don't know.
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up, but I'm going Chargers.
Broncos are 9-5. Chargers 8-6. They're playing in Los Angeles. You're going Chargers?
Going Chargers.
I picked the Chargers last week, as did you, against the Falcons, and the Falcons kicked the shit out of them. I'm going Broncos.
All right.
Texans, Chiefs.
This
is on Saturday, by the way.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird week. I'm getting mixed messages as I search it. How hurt is fucking Mahomes?
I don't know. Because if he's hurt, the Texans are going to win.
Right. They're saying high ankle sprain. He's played through that before. So, and there's so much bullshit out there on the internet that you don't know what to believe.
Here's the other thing. You forgot about the other player. It's not just Mahomes. It's the refs.
I'm going Texans.
I'm going Chiefs.
All right.
Boy, it's exciting. Steelers, Ravens, a huge game on Saturday afternoon. Steelers 10-4, Ravens 9-5. Who's going to win the North? Huge game.
Going Ravens.
Ravens, you think?
Yep.
I'm going Steelers.
I love it.
Big differences this week.
Yes.
Giants, Falcons.
Oh, fucking Kirk Cousins is benched.
Falcons.
I have to go Falcons.
Even if they don't try, they could beat the Giants.
I could put my old neighbor Justice Burnham, who was the Anderson Raptors quarterback, who they went to the state finals. I'd put him in.
The Lions are going to Soldier Field.
Even with all the injuries, I'm still taking Lions.
Cardinals, Panthers. Cardinals are 7-7. Panthers are 3-11. Can't even beat the Cowboys. I got to go with the Cardinals.
You skipped over like the way my list goes. That's all right. Yeah, I'm going Cardinals.
Which list are you on?
Yahoo Sports.
Oh, I'm on Google's.
Okay, that's all right. I got them all in front of me. You're good.
I'll give you more time though to think.
No, I'm good. I'm going Cardinals.
Oh, well, I mean, in general, I'll give you more time. Rams, Jets.
Rams.
Easy, right?
Rams. Easy.
Eagles, Redskins.
Eagles.
I have to take the Eagles. I hate picking them, but I think the Redskins are done.
It hurt your soul.
It hurt my soul. Big game coming up for you. Cleveland Browns.
Battle of Ohio.
Cincinnati Bengals. Now, you got to remember that Jameis Winston did get benched in the last game, so.
Yep. Bengals.
I'll take the Bengals, too. Although I did decide last night that I'm going to get, as soon as they're cheap, which is any day now, I'm going to get a Jameis Winston Cleveland Browns jersey. I just want to remember this moment in time. It's been great. It's been special. Houston Oilers, Baltimore Colts.
Let's go Colts.
I will also take the Colts. I'll take the team of Johnny Unitas. Here's a big one. Minnesota Vikings at Seattle Seahawks.
I think the Vikings.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're just playing really well, and I don't know why. And it's because I refuse to watch them. You know why? Because they're played every week. Like, if I wanted to watch any football at all, it would be the Vikings. So I've been ignoring them, and I've been sleeping on them. And this is my chance to offer an apology to Vikings fans for being so rude and dismissive. Anyway, Patriots, Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, Bills got this locked up. Nice momentum building game for them. At this point, they're just playing for seed. Jaguars, Raiders.
What a shit game.
Honestly,
3-11
this
and
game should be a
2-12.
punishment to one of us. Like, if only like at the end of the picks, we could be like, as a punishment, you have to watch Jaguars or Raiders.
I think I'm gonna take the Jaguars.
Well, they have one more win at 3-11 over the Raiders at
No reason I'll
2-12.
take.
I will also. I'll take the Jaguars. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. 49ers at Dolphins. Another confusing game. 6-8. They're playing in Miami, so it'll be nice and warm.
I'm gonna take the serial killer coach.
Future serial killer Mike McDaniel.
Yes, I'll go Dolphins.
You're going to take the Dolphins. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy to know which one to pick on this one. I'll go with 49ers. By the way, you ever wondered why I thought Mike McDaniel was a serial killer?
The beady eyes.
I want you to compare this photo to a forensic sketch of the Zodiac. They are the same man.
Oh my god! Oh, that's perfect.
I prepared this several weeks ago, and then I forgot about it. That's Mike McDaniels on the right. He's the head coach. The Miami Dolphins on the left, an unknown man believed to be a prolific serial killer in Southern California in the 1960s and 70s, known only as the Zodiac, a man who was known for sending cryptic ciphers to the newspaper. And it was the killer of Sherry Joe Bates, Paul Stein, and several others. Still uncaught to this day. No reason to believe that he's not Mike McDaniels.
That is fucking fantastic.
It's very close. If only the Zodiac would smile, it would be pretty much the same thing. Just something to consider. We don't know who the Zodiac is.
Think about it.
You weren't ready for that, were you?
No, I was not. I love it.
It was very good.
You're always
for
full
me.
of surprises.
Just shows you how much downtime I have, though. Why do I tell people I'm busy? I'm obviously not. Anyway, I'll take the 49ers. You're going to take the Dolphins.
All right.
Cowboys, Buccaneers. This is a Sunday night game. I will be off for this. We could do a live video response. We should just try it.
Let's do it.
Why the hell not? Like, I'll be watching it over the air. It'll be on NBC. I think if we're watching it over the air, I think there's a good chance that we'll be largely synchronized because we're not like watching it through streaming versus cable.
Right.
So why not?
I'm down.
We should at least, we'll watch the beginning, and then if it's boring at halftime, or if I'm crying a lot and you don't want to stream crying on your channel, we'll turn it off. But we'll just have a hangout or something. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Bucks, Cowboys. That's Sunday, December 22. That's at 7:20 p.m. We'll be live on this channel for a live watch of the Buccaneers and Cowboys. My buddy, who has known me all my life, he's a Cowboys hater. He's a Buccaneers fan. I'll see if I can get him on. He does have a child and a life, and he protects like all the fish of Texas. I'm not sure what his job is, so he's always sort of very busy. But I'll see if he's interested in that. But I'm taking the Cowboys to defeat the Bucks because I have to now.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Not because I want to. You know what? I've got to go with Buccaneers. They just kicked the shit out of the Chargers. How can I go with Cowboys? I mean, all I'm doing is reacting to last week, saying, well, they beat the Panthers. The Panthers and the Buccaneers are not the same team. The Buccaneers are going to win this game. I want the Cowboys to win, but the Bucks, I have to go with them. All right. Saints, Packers. Packers. They're playing in Lambeau in December. The Saints from New Orleans
who play inside.
They don't have a chance. That'll be a Monday night game.
They play at a balmy 70 degrees.
Very exciting. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Illegal Shift. It's the world's only contractually obligated podcast that still happens to be fun. Just wanted to re-acknowledge our chats because so many people have been here talking to us and have been ignored by us. So Jenny says, baby Zodiac. I don't know if he's a baby. Will Crave, probably mad that I did not say anything nice about the Vikings still. Foxy said, just because he's a firefighter, John has to have a police clear the scene first. That would be just mean. That's funny. Have the police clear out the dark alley with which you will fight with a broken bottle. Guns and hoses. Is that what we should call the league? Guns and hoses?
No, that's already a thing, but that's just boxing. Like this is going to be like full on weapons, all kinds of shit.
Nunchucks?
Yeah. I'll have to brush up on that, I guess.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Love to see all the comments in here. It was very nice of everyone to show up. I appreciate all you guys for being here. Jill and Jenny and Foxy. Have you noticed that we have like quite a lot of, have you noticed we have quite a lot of women watching the game?
The show, you mean?
Yes. Well, this is a game too. Yes, the show.
I love it. Maybe
we're on Instagram very early this morning, kind of hyping up the show.
I saw that.
And I mentioned how fantasy football is just made up by men so that we have something to talk about other than our feelings. And I thought that's what the show is. We're not going to talk about feelings. We're not going to talk about politics. We're just going to talk about Jameis Winston. But what's funny is that it's men making this up, but it's just like we have all these girls here and it's wonderful.
I think it's fantastic.
Hi, ladies. It also says something to you about how men just don't give a fuck because we're obviously not a very good sports show.
What?
Well, men are watching ESPN, I guess. They're not here watching us. Something to think about.
They're losers.
They are losers. This show's more about it's about more than just sports.
It's about fun. It's chemistry.
It's about ad reads.
Even the made up ones.
It's about the hidden side of the food pyramid.
and the sketches of Mike McDaniel.
And don't forget, it's about likening certain real life people to certain serial killers from 60 years ago. And deep history of the Detroit Lions. It's the weirdest and worst sports show ever, but it's the only one that I want to do. I would never want to appear on stage with Stephen A. Smith or whatever. Gross.
No, I agree.
All right. I'm going to go out to my car and eat some eggs. You got any big plans for us today?
Well, apparently I'm getting on a treadmill and getting the shit kicked out of me. I just got to train up.
Am I just the referee in these fights or do I get to fight too?
No, you can fight too.
Because the worst thing about death is how long it takes. You know what I mean?
Where are you going with it?
I just want to throw my hat in the ring. I want to get out of here.
You are more than welcome.
Jenny also really liked my smut ad read from last week when I talked about Lights Out, a sexy, romantic, dark thriller where ER nurse Amy Capuccelli was waiting for dark, delicious things to be done to her willing body.
I've been looking for that book on Amazon. I can't find it.
You can find it. You're just not looking hard enough. I'll send you my copy. All right, guys. John, can you fight? No, that's the point, is that I want to go down fighting. I want to look like a man whilst in the last pathetic moments of my life. Allie, yes, I'm sorry. Allie Capuccelli. Yeah, I just want me being killed in a fight. It's like I'm either going to be killed attending a football game, killed driving, but I would like to be killed by another man. I would like it to seem like, because that might seem like my life had some kind of purpose or consequence, to be killed doing something.
It's fair.
All right. That's been this show. It's been depressing. Sorry, everyone. Go sports. We'll see you on Sunday night, I guess, for Buccaneers Cowboys. Bring some pizza, open some beer. If you feel like watching the game instead of the Manning brothers, you get to watch the Illegal Shift ambiguously gay duo, which is us. we could watch the show with you. Maybe it'll be fun. When is the next episode of One More and I'm Out of Here?
I think we're doing one Friday. I just got to pinpoint a time. It'll be a little bit early, like 4:00 probably Eastern. I gotta pin it down with Dan and Andrew.
You said Sunday?
No, Friday.
I'm going to be very busy on Friday, so do figure it out well in advance so that I can get you that graphic, because I'm not going to have time to make it on Friday.
Okay. I'll have it to you Thursday.
I may not have time Thursday. Get it to me today. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to send you a generalized graphic of something happening in the world, and I bet that it's going to fit.
I guarantee it will.
Yep. I'm going to send you something. Did you see the thumbnail that I made for this morning's episode of Last Call, where it was
Yes.
Biden surrounded by all the evil people?
Yes.
That was good, right?
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Foxy says I need to read a King book. Like what? Stephen King? I love Stephen King. I would love to read The Shining to all of you. Would that be okay?
What's behind me? Falk's asking.
Yeah.
Is it the reflection from the television?
He does that to make it look like he's in a big time studio. He's
Yeah.
just
That's all.
Oh, it's smut. They just want me to read smut. What was it that I said the other time, like at being a fine member? He took his pulsing, throbbing fine member in his hand and he wagged it around for everyone in the room to see, ruining the bar mitzvah. All right. Show's over. No more sexy John voice. I don't want to get all these women tangled up in my sexy web. We're leaving. The show's over. Goodbye.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. Good. See you on Sunday night, Keith. I love you.
John, I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Smut. I'm going to read smut.